Alright, so this is the second part of the comic haul, but I'm gonna still include the stuff from the Newbury Comics purchase, because this is essentially all the comics I got this month video, except for one. Now, this is not complete comic haul, obviously. This is like what I like to do at the end of the month, just with everything that's come in so far after a certain point. Now, I'm gonna upload this either on Friday or on Saturday, and then or Sunday, and then Saturday's video will be something different, or Sunday's video will be something different. I have like one open slot, because then Monday will be the complete comic haul, if all goes well with that book that I'm waiting on. The book I'm waiting on is Superior by Mark Millar. Without further ado, let's get into it. First one up, first one up is the book that I said I might get this month because I wanted to get it physically. I have it digitally, but I also want it physically, and that is Last Fair Deal Gone Down, a Nick Travers graphic novel by Ace Atkins, and with artwork by Marco Finnegan. Is that right? Yes, exactly right. With the cover done by Chris Brenner. This is an original graphic novel, and it's an adaptation of one of his novels, of Ace Atkins novels. In the Nick Travers series by Ace Atkins. I, for whatever reason, thought it was the other way around. There's the artwork. Now, this one I thought was published by Image Comics, because the digital book has slowed down. The digital book, you go to this page right here, and it shows both the 12 Gauge Comics logo and the Image Comics logo. I almost want to say here too, and here. I know here it showed it. Now, I don't know if that's a later printing or the digital printing is different, like wholly different in that one regard than it is the physical copy, but this only says 12 Gauge, which I know is technically an imprint of Image Comics, but you'd be none the wiser. I'd be none the wiser if I just opened up this book and I went to the credits page, because again, nowhere does it say Image Comics. It just says 12 Gauge Comics. It says 12 Gauge Comics, reserved, published by 12 Gauge Comics, and then office publication, and all that unrelated detail about, like, oh, with, you know, the trademarks and copyrights and all that. And somewhere, I don't know if it still says this, but they always would say, like, if this cover is ripped off and you bought it at a store with the cover ripped off, that's, like, a damaged copy and it should be returned to the publisher because it's, like, an unsold, one of those things. I forget exactly what it says, but those of you who are big readers like me know exactly what I'm talking about. Unless you don't. In which case, well, I'm just babbling. But this one is the first of a series of 2 graphic novels, the second one being Crossroad Blues or something like that. Underground Crossroad Blues? Something like that. That doesn't sound right. I don't know, but there's other Ace Atkins Image graphic novel. This one is not included on the Image Comics website, which makes sense because this is 12 Gauge, which yes, is still an imprint, but you know that. Even Top Cow is an imprint of Image. And they say Top Cow and Image. I don't think there's any trades that just say Top Cow and you go inside and then it's like, nope, nowhere to say the Image Comics logo like this one does. So that's kind of confusing. Whatever the case, the digital version does indeed show the Image Comics and 12 Gauge Comics logo, thus this counts as an Image Comics book. Again, I just wanted it physically. This next one quite literally snuck up on me. This is Juvenile, written and drawn by Jesus Orellana. Oh, Jesus, I'm supposed to say Jesus, not Jesus. Jesus Orellana. Now, how does one sneak up on me? I know all the Image books are coming out. I have like a detailed map in my mind of the Image Comics trades being released each month. And even if I don't have a pretty good map, I usually give myself a reminder, hey, add these to the cart for next month or something like that. So how does one sneak up on me? I swear that this was written and drawn by Maria Lovelit, who does Crave, Violent Flowers, and 2 ongoing series. I think both of which are not out right now. Whatever the case, I thought Juvenile was by her. I got confused because Image Comics credits her, but she only did covers, which I think is really scummy. Like, come on. Really? Because they did covers, it counts as their credits page. Now, all I had to do was click it and say, oh, it's written and drawn by Jesus Orellana. And I swear, like, I knew this a few months ago, but it just completely exited my mind, completely forgot about it, and and again, it snuck up on me. So I had to kind of buy it last minute. It's really annoying. As this came out back in September, and in September I got the biggest waste of money, Gracie's Ghost. Why is the biggest waste of money? Because I'm a completist. I thought it was the only thing by Donald Brown. Had I known that, I would not have gotten Gracie's Ghost. And had I known it wasn't a Skybound comic book, I really would not have gotten Gracie's Ghost. Again, the only reason is that it has nothing to do with the story, has nothing to do with the book itself. It's just I'm a completist and I'm OCD. So if I don't, and it's a nice way to budget myself too. Like there's so many books I could have gotten over the months, past year even, that I decided against getting because it's not everything. It wouldn't be like, oh, it's the last thing I need by this author, by that author. Now I did, of course, I have of course broken that rule, but only like a few exceptions. It's usually, oh, this is part of the series I already have, so might as well get that. Oh, this one is the last thing I need by that author, trade-wise, as you'll soon see here. But again, would not have gotten this if it was written and drawn by Maria Lovelit. But it's not. It's written and drawn by Jesus Orellana. And for whatever reason, this is digest size. That also snuck up on me. So here it is compared to your average trade paperback. Kind of annoying. I don't know why they do that. I don't know why they just decide, like, yeah, this book doesn't need to be a digest size. We're making it digest size. At least it makes sense for this first book, the Nick Travers book, because it's supposed to be like a graphic novel version of a novel. So you want to keep it kind of uniform. You know, oh, it's, you know, and it's just the way they do it. I understand that. But if it's a collected edition, it should never be digest sized, unless the original issues were digest sized. Whatever. This is also supposed to be, I think this is like literally rated T for teen. Let's see. Nope, teen plus. I know, for Strange, I know for Strange Academy, that Marvel Comics series, the trades are digest sized because the series is targeted towards kids, and kids have small hands. So I understand that part. Same reason why the Mighty Marvel Masterworks are digest sized, because they're made for kids, because it's the Silver Age, so it's very kid friendly, and thus smaller size book. That makes sense, but come on now. This next one is very interesting. So, as I said 1 through 5 for Juvenile. First one was an original graphic novel. This is technically not an original graphic novel. This is All Negro Comics, which collects the first issue of the All Negro Comics series from 1947. This is America's first black comic book. This is basically a history book. You got the original, as you'll soon see, as you see here, you have the original printing of All Negro Comics issue 1. But because that is just one issue, you flip to the end and you have little essays here. I think this is actually still part of All Negro Comics. It's just a novel, prose story that's included in here. But somewhere at the end, like right here, it's essays. This is already a thin trade at 88 pages. Then you have some new stories at the end. And I'm very happy to see that most of this is comics. Not, they say, oh, essays, the Image in Amazon, and everywhere that you look up information about the novel, about the graphic novel, does say there are essays and extras included in here. And I was afraid when I read that, and I was like, oh, that's going to be like half the book, isn't it? Looks like it's not the case, because again, we're already back to graphic novel. Comic book. So, this is cool. Like, I again, it was mostly novelty that I got this, but it's also a nice, time capsule. Image Comics does not traditionally do Silver Age, Golden Age reprinting. That's usually Marvel, DC, Dynamite. Honestly, it seems to be every single publisher, like Dark Horse, every single publisher, even indie publishers besides Image. So it's always cool when they do something like this. And the fact that it's the first black graphic novel, that's really cool. And it was cheap enough. It was $12.99, which is not a bad price for a modern trade that's 88 pages, even if it is only 88 pages. But it's a lot of it is a restoration. Like if this were Marvel, because of restoration and all that, this would probably be $20. Dark Horse, straight up $20, because Dark Horse is the best example of overpricing. 4-issue series, 128 pages, $20, really? Like Image Comics at $16.99. Hell, probably even be $14.99. And yeah, like something like this, Juvenile. This is 5 issues, and it's $14.99. It's a smaller size trade. So that's kind of annoying, but still makes sense. Actually, how much is the Strange Academy trade? The digest size. I wonder how much that one is. So that one might be $14.99. So it might be one thing Marvel has over, maybe even $12.99. So it might be something that even Marvel has over Image. But for the most part, Image Comics seems to be the best at pricing. Like, they would never do the 128-page softcover, around 120, they would never do a 128-page graphic novel, the paper stock being the same paper stock they always use for trades, regardless of Dark Horse, Image, just the traditional paper stock they use, and standard size softcover. Image Comics would never make that $20. Best example here is Gehenna Naked Aggression, written by Patrick. Oh, sorry. So, actually, I can't find. Going back to All Negro Comics, according to Amazon's Chris Robinson. Oh, yeah. So I see now. You see here. So here is all of the. Here's the credits page. It's gonna be much easier than me going over every single name for All Negro Comics. So again, $12.99, 88-page graphic novel, restoration included, so the restoration tax. That makes sense. So, then you get something like this. Gehenna, going back to comic book pricing, trade pricing, Gehenna Naked Aggression, collecting 1 through 4 of Gehenna Naked Aggression. 128 pages according to Amazon. This is $16.99. Image Comics. Now, yeah, okay, $4 is not a huge difference, but it adds up. Trust me when I say that shit adds up, especially if you're me and you go novels every month, so it adds up. And then like again, to get 4 20-page graphic novels is a lot worse than getting 4 $16.99 graphic novels. And I honestly have to rack my mind to think of any trade that I looked at and was like, that's insanely priced. Maybe Spectators by Brian K. Vaughan, because that was digest sized hardcover for $30. And honestly, I will give you this: there's no way that I would have known that it was a digest sized hardcover purely based off the price tag. That I will give you. That was a bit silly, but even then, it's still moderately fairly priced than it would be from Dark Horse. Now, Dark Horse, their omnibuses are pretty fairly priced. I think it was like what, $40 for Baltimore, and then standard size. It's not oversized omnibus, but it's 500 pages. I think one of them was, and that much book for $40 is pretty good priced. But anyways, going back to Gehenna Naked Aggression by Patrick Kindlon, with artwork done by Maurizio Rosenweig, colors by Matteo Battani. Now this collects his Image work from the Image 2022 anthology series, but this has additional content. So you already get a reprinting of the Image Comics Anthology 2022 work, but also it's bonus stuff. That is great. Love that they're doing that. And no, I don't understand why we don't have more. Like, why don't we have the stories that... My brain is not working right now. Who wrote Easel? Oh, Brendan Fletcher. Why don't we have Brendan Fletcher's work? He did a lot for that Image Comics 2022 30th anniversary anthology series. It's 12 issues. They never released into any trades. You get lucky with this, and then there's some, like Kaya, the first volume collects bonus stories from the Image Comics Anthology series. Same with Bolero by Wyatt Kennedy. For whatever reason, we got nothing from Brendan Fletcher. Still to this day, there's no news of it coming out in trade format. I think what they should have done is they should have done an oversized, or maybe even standard size, but oversized 600. And if I'm doing the math correctly, it'd be 680 pages. So, you know, a big ass omnibus to celebrate Image Comics' 30th anniversary of the 12 issues put into an oversized hardcover omnibus. That way, if like you don't want to buy the standard size hardcover for the Jeff Johns issues, you can get the oversized hardcover, and they even like charge you like $100. Like that's, I just think it'd be a nice way to celebrate it, you know. And you can make it look just like a Marvel Comics, and make it a homage to the Marvel Comics omnibuses, you know, with the red and all that. If you see, you know what I'm talking about. If you see Marvel omnibuses, like just do that, but have the Image Comics logo. The same way Titan Comics has their Conan trades, as Titan Comics now owns Conan. They took it from Marvel, or Marvel sold the rights rather. But yes, so a little wavy pages, but that's fine. Actually, I want to check something because one of the trades I got this month is wavy pages, but like, okay. You'll see what I mean. What I'm talking about. We'll see what I'm talking about when we get to it. But yes, very cool that they gave us this in trade format. Because now I officially have everything Patrick Kinlan did for Image. There was one series that hasn't even come out yet. I don't know if it got canceled. I don't know if he just has too much on his plate to worry about that, but no news on that either. This next one was another one that kind of snuck up on me. So I only knew about this trade because I watched Near Conditions video on when he was doing a comic store overview, I guess you could call it, whatever you call it, like graphic novel hunting, I think it was. I don't know. He's showing some comic stores in Germany, and this was one of the trades I saw a spine of, and I was like, hey, I don't have this one. This is The Complete Tales from the Con by Brad Guigar, Guigar, but he's a writer. The artist in part 1 cover is Chris Caruso. Artist for part 2 is Scoot McMahon. It's kind of funny, Scoot. That, you'll know exactly who I'm referring to when I say Scoot and then YMS. Rest in peace. That was, I think, one of the most surprising deaths I've ever witnessed. It's like so sudden. Very sad. Anyways, The Complete Tales from the Con seems to be just like some silly little comic strips. I always like when Image Comics does that. They did the same for Zach M. Stafford's comic strips. They put that into graphic novel format. Hardcover, digest size, but still put it into graphic novel format. And at that point, I think that should be digest size. Like, I'm surprised this wasn't digest sized. But yes, Brad Guigar. And how much was this book? It's $10. I paid a little bit more. Oopsies. But I got it in new condition. And I didn't have to deal with half-price books, so worth it. But then again, they probably just had this in a trade, and they probably had this at a comic shop. Rated E for everyone. I just realized that. I just noticed that. Now this one, I think it says The Complete Tales from the Con. It says collect all 4 years of this comic strip series. So, but I think it's 2 individual. From what I can tell, it's 2 individual issues that were released, smashed into this book. But nowhere does it say that in the credits page, in the copyright page. So, I don't know. If it's Tales from the Con, it's collected in this. At least I sure as hell hope so. Next up, we have How to Make Webcomics by Brad Guigar. Now, yes, I got this, and then all these names too. Now, what's really funny about this is just looking at the trade itself. There is absolutely zero indication that this isn't a graphic novel. Yeah, it's a guide on how to make webcomics, but you would think, oh, it's gonna be like graphic novels, like an actual graphic novel, like comic book, but it'll be just the creators explaining how to make webcomics. That is not the case. It's text. But you do have these little comic strips on every page. So by the skin of its teeth, I guess it counts as a graphic novel. I got this for $8 off Amazon, used like new, and it was Amazon Prime shipping. I am not complaining. But then again, I probably could have gotten something else instead. But hey, it's all I needed from Brad Geiger from Image, and I was like, you might as well. This is not gonna be one I will review anytime soon, and if anything, I'll just read the little comic strips. Now, one thing I do find really annoying is because there's so much text in this for every page, it's really, really small. Like, super small, and very hard to see. But whatever. And obviously it's an oversize. Obviously it's an OGN, not oversize. Obviously it's an OGN, doesn't collect any issues. Already 20 minutes, what the hell? I try to make the videos quick because I'm like, okay, this is the first draft. You can make it as rough as you want. Still a good video, but make it as rough as you want. Alright, let's do a little speed run. Napalm Lullaby, Rick Remender and writes it. Artist Bengal collects all 10 issues of Napalm Lullaby. Same creative team that did Death or Glory. I had to get this one because other than one issue of The Scumbag, this is everything that Rick Remender and Bengal did for Image. Like, that team of creators, obviously. Rick Remender has done a whole bunch more for Image, but that specific creative team of Rick Remender and Bengal, this is it. And then Death or Glory. And Death or Glory I really loved. So yeah, all 10 issues, Napalm Lullaby, did the artwork. Perfect. Volume 10 of Monstrous collects 55 to 60. I don't know if I mentioned that when I showed this off before. I did not show this off before. Why didn't I show this off before? That's so weird. I don't know why I thought that. Huh. Anyways, here is the artwork for Monstrous Volume 10. Volume 10. It's insane. And it's still going. Like, it's very stupid for me to think, even for a second, that because there's no solicits for issue 61 yet, like no solicits at all in general, that the series is done for. It's not, obviously not. It can't be. I'm gonna flip to the end and see if, yes, it says to be continued at the end. Yeah, 55 to 60. 60 issues of Monstrous so far, 10 trades. Now, my hypothesis, if I had to come up with anything and like give you my 2 cents about when I think the series will end, because we have a compendium that collects 9 volumes, I would say at least 18 volumes of Monstrous. At the very, very least 100 issues of Monstrous. Maybe even more. Now, 18, what would that be? Because it's 48 plus 48. It's actually, we're less than 100. But you have to factor in the 2 talk stories, which is 50. So yeah, I'd say 100. I just had like an oh shit moment because the sun went away behind the clouds and I was like, power went out. That makes no sense. I have nothing on. And the fan is still working. I didn't have lights on it or anything like that. So it's like completely took me off guard. But anyways, Monstrous. Now, why do I have 2 copies of Golden Rage Volume 2? Like, I know I really liked Volume 1. Big hole blemish. My original copy. Yeah, it kind of got destroyed. And see, what's an even better example is look at the page, from the trade. Just holding like this, the condition of the paper. It's fine here, but here, oh, no, it looked like more of a mess here. There you go. You can kind of see it. It was the way I was holding it looked more messy. It was also warped. It came in like this. Now, a good thing about warped comics, of warped trades, is as long as I put them in on a shelf and I like squeeze them tight together, the warping will go away. If I don't touch it for a very long time. I actually, it was just overnight, and I checked it in the morning, because I was almost thinking about not getting a replacement, but I was like, you know what, let's get a replacement. And in the morning, I was like, watch this be not warped anymore, and sure enough, it wasn't warped anymore. But this right here, that's an ugly-ass blemish. So, I got a replacement. And I'm happy to say that the new trade came in perfect condition. There's a little bit of scuffing here, and I wish it was on the bottom, but... So, why do I wish it's on the bottom? Why does it matter if it's on top versus bottom? Well, that's what's called shelf wear. When you have a trade, especially if it's soft cover, when you have it on the shelf for a very long time, and especially if you constantly are reading it or moving it to this part of the shelf, where you're like pushing it over to make way for new trades and new hardcovers, whatever, the book is gonna get kind of scuffed because doing this shelf, and this at the bottom is gonna get a little scuffed. That's why I don't mind when the book comes in with some shelfware, especially if it's used like new, and it's the only thing wrong with it. Because again, it's going to happen eventually anyways. Now, what's not going to happen eventually is the bunching up that you saw with the... Here. What's not going to happen, because I'm very, very OCD with my trades and very careful too, is any of this. Like, that is just awful that happened. So, glad I got a replacement. Going back to the actual trade itself, I'll do it with the new. No, old trade. Why not? So Golden Rage is written by Chrissy Williams with artwork. So it's Golden Rage Volume 2. Mother Knows Best. Written by Chrissy Williams, art Lauren Knight. Colorist Sophie Dodson. Collecting all 5 issues of this second miniseries. I really hope it's the last. I like the series, do not get me wrong. But the completist in me was very annoyed that this came out of nowhere. Like, oh yeah, this series that, honestly, I'd argue didn't really need a sequel, got a sequel. It has been a long time since I've read Golden Rage Volume 1, but I almost want to say that when I finished it, I never said, yeah, we do need more of this. This series was open-ended, you know? And it's probably partially open-ended to where it's like a complete surprise, but still. Tad annoying. Now, the best way to describe this is exactly what they describe on the back here, is that it's Battle Royale meets the Golden Girls, which I hope that makes it sound a lot better than I just made it sound. Monkey Meat Volume 2, the summer batch. Not thin trade, lighter trade. I don't know why Image does this, but they did it. This is Volume 2 of Monkey Meat. Seems to be all in black and white instead of colors. Some color. It's like the black, white, and red from Marvel Comics. Which I like. I love those black, white, and red comics. They're nice little time wasters. Nothing groundbreaking. You're not going to get anything close to Batman Black and White by Neil Gaiman, like that original series that Neil Gaiman and I think Grant Morrison did. A bunch of big names, is my point, worked on Batman Black and White. And I understand that original series, they're never going to capitalize. Marvel is never going to make anything better than that. Maybe they get like their big names like Frank Miller, but they're just nice. They're nice little time wasters, you know. You want more Elektra, if you want more Wolverine stories, you want more Moon Knight stories, that's what it gives you. None of them were bad. Like, none of them I was, like, annoyed with so far. They're just nice. Again, by time waste, I mean, like, palate cleansers. You know, you read something that's really involved, like anything from the Silver Age, and then you read something like this that's a nice little palate cleanser. You know? Alright, 30 minutes. This, I believe, collects 5 issues, too. Yes, 1 through 5. And it's written and drawn by Juni Ba, who did a series I'm dying to read, The Boy Wonder. The other series, this one right here, yep, here, the library has, so I'll read that one. But yeah, the Batman and Robin series I don't have, which is really crazy. They have that random-ass book, but not The Boy Wonder. I might just put that one in, I actually might just put that one in for the library yet. I haven't done it in a while. They probably won't get pissed at me. Yeah, here's the artwork for Monkey Meat. Monkey Meat is one of those strange graphic novels that you'll get something like, you get actual stories, but then at the end, you'll get something like this. Which I am not the biggest fan of, but whatever. Yeah, it's not a deal breaker for me whatsoever. Joshua Williamson writes G.I. Joe Volume 2, Blood's Revenge. Written by Joshua Williamson. Artist is Andrea Milana and Marco Fodera. Most of it is done by Andrea Milana, but in the last 20 pages or so is Marco. Lee Luthridge the colors throughout. Which is pretty epic. Here's the artwork for Volume 2. Collecting 7 through 12 of G.I. Joe. Looks like it's only going to be a 3-volume series, so 18 issues. Because it says, the solicit say something about, like, the penultimate issue of this series. So, if anything, maybe 4 volumes. But I want to say 3 volumes and it's done. And even then, it gives just the story arc they're talking about, not the actual series itself. Time will tell if I'm right or wrong about that. Oh, what I'm right about. The first, which I hope is the case, or the second, which whatever. That's all I need for Joshua Williamson. And I'll get that last series that wasn't available on Kindle. It was 3-issue series. No trade either. Moving on, Transformers Volume 4. Now, since I showed this before, I'm making this really quick. Transformers Volume 4. Written by Daniel Warren Johnson, who does the artwork along with Ludo Lullaby and George Corona. Each of them doing some pages. A certain amount of pages. Mike Spicer and Adriano Lucas are the colorists. Again, doing some of the pages. Mike Spicer does some of it, and Adriano Lucas does some of it too. I don't think they team up. I don't think it's the same amount of pages for the colorists at all. No crossovers to the colorists. Or artists. Could be wrong though. Here's the artwork for Transformers Volume 4, which is called Conquer and Control. So it collects issues 19 to 24 of Transformers, and a story from the Energon Universe Special 2025. Time will tell if I decide, because this is the last of Daniel Warren Johnson's run on Transformers. So time will tell if next month I decide, hey, let's just get everything else that Daniel Warren Johnson did for Image. There is one trade that on Amazon is coming in much later than they want it to come in. Be after Christmas, so I'm like, yeah, save some money, get this instead. Time will tell if I bite the bullet and get that, or I stick to my guns and then decide to do the opposite. But anyways, Transformers Volume 4. Battle Beast Volume 1, Heart of Glory. I got the alternate cover. Did not know they came out with this. I thought it was just one cover, but like with issues of comics, the trades now come in alternate covers and variants. That's what I'm looking for. Battle Beast, this one collects 1 through 6 of Battle Beast, written by Robert Kirkman, artwork done by Ryan Ottley. So already the original creative team behind Invincible. But however, the colors here is Annalisa Leone. I don't know if it's the same colors as did Invincible. I almost want to say no. But you get that good Ryan Ottley artwork and that amazing Robert Kirkman writing. It's got like good reviews on Goodreads, so it was a worthy follow-up to Invincible. Now on the back it does say that it's for fans of longtime fans and new fans alike, new readers alike. So I think I'm going to... So I've read the 2 hardcovers, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to test that theory and read this very, very soon. And then we'll see if I'm right, or we'll see if they were right or wrong in their assumptions. I don't know. Alright. Then we got Radiant Black Volume 4, which is called... Oopsie, this is Volume 7. Go backwards. Go backwards. Go backwards. So yeah, Radiant Black Volumes 4 through 7. No, I'm going to do... I'm not going to say what each volume... No, I should just let's do that. Volume 4 is 2-in-1. They seem to do like the Marvel... So Volume 3 is called Team Up. This one's called 2-in-1. They seem to do Marvel Comics puns and DC Comics puns. Like one of them is called Crisis, and the other one is... Then the next trade is called On Infinite Earths. It's kind of funny. Because Radiant Black, I think, is supposed to be, in general, it's supposed to be a homage to Marvel and DC Comics. I know it's superhero comics. I don't know how much of a homage it's supposed to be, but I know it's superhero comics. But anyways, Radiant Black issues 19 to 24 is collected in Volume 4. Volume 5 of Radiant Black is called The Catalyst War Crisis. And it collects Radiant Black issues 25 to 27.5. Now, it's A and B for issues, those issues. Which I think is really cool. I think if you're gonna do A and B, .5s, .1s, .2s, at least have the trades collect all the .1s, .2s, and .3s, and then the actual issues for 25 to 27, at the very least. Radiant Black Volume 6 is called The Catalyst War Infinite Earths. So there's that little pun there. And this one collects Radiant Black issues 28 to 30.5 issues, and the original, so A and B stories, A and B issues, and then Supermassive 2024. Now, why did I say both 20.5 or 0.5 and A and B? Because one says A and B, and the other one says 0.5. But then it also collects the Supermassive 2024 one-shot, which is a crossover between all the, not Radiant Black universe stories, but whatever, the Radiant Black universe stories. I don't know what they call. I don't know if it's like something like Energon is Transformers, G.I. Joe, so on and so forth. I don't know if Radiant Black has anything that's called. Supermassive universe. Why my brain did not put two and two together automatically, I don't know. But it's Supermassive 2024, 2023, and so on and so forth. Those are crossovers between all of these stories in the Supermassive universe. So anyone who's written anything for that universe, they come together for that big, thick, oversized issue. I think it's like at least 50 pages. And then, there you go. It's once a year. I don't know if they have one for 2025 yet. Because I want to say it was 22, 23, and 24 that were collected in that trade that I have. Anyways, moving on. Radiant Black Volume 7, all new, all different. Again, Marvel Comics pun. Collects issues 31 to 36 of Radiant Black. Now, when I have a multi-volume series, I only show the artwork of the first volume I have. If it's Volume 1, you're in luck. But if I only have Volume 4 and it's not... Now, something like Transformers and Monstrous, where it's just the most recent trade that I have right now, I'm not going to go back to Volume 1 to show the artwork of Volume 1. I'm going to show the artwork for Volume 4 of Transformers and Volume 10, respectively, of Monstrous, respectively. Because that's what I do. And it's kind of confusing to do that the other way. And kind of useless, pointless to do that way, too. I'm not going to do... If I got all 10 volumes of Monstrous, I'm not going to do the artwork for each volume. Again, to avoid spoilers. Now, unfortunately, I have nothing... There's nothing I can do with Volume 10 or Volume 12 of the series, so... Whatevs. But anyways, last one is The Mummy. Written and drawn... Nope. Written by... written and drawn. So, writer-artist, Faith Erin Hicks. Colorist is Lee Lutheridge. And here... And it collects all 4 issues of The Mummy. And here is the artwork for The Mummy. I really like these Universal Monsters Image Comics hardcovers. Not been disappointed yet. In fact, I liked each and every one. Frankenstein was really good. My favorite, I can't even pick. I would say maybe Dracula, but none of them are above... None of them are below an 8 out of 10. So will The Mummy be the first 7 out of 10? Time will tell. I plan on reading those at the end of the year. I can't do it at the end of the month. I have too much to read. And we're 3 days... No, actually 4 days. So I started today, I could. But I can't do that. I have way too much to read other than that. But anyways, that, as they say, is that 37-minute video. We're done.